Bonsoir les causeurs, this is Llyane Stanfield, and today I would like to share with you the number one technique that can save you years of frustration while you are learning to speak French. It is so natural to us to try to speak in a second language the same way that we do in our mother tongue. We have already a lot of habits, our speech patterns, we speak in our way, right? And so it's really hard, as it is with breathing. When we start breathing consciously, it's really hard because we just breathe. And so there's how to change the way I breathe. Same thing with the speech and same thing with walking, for instance. All these things that we're doing mechanically, automatically, and we have been doing it for many years, it's really hard to manage and to change. So just try for like a little bit to walk in a different way that you are naturally walking. Unless you are a trained actor, it's going to be very, very hard. Breathing, same thing. It takes quite a lot of effort to breathe in a different way, and we can do it for a long time. If you go to yoga for about an hour, it's going to, I'm doing this on a daily basis. I'm still not able to consciously breathe for an hour. And yet we expect from ourselves to speak in a different way, in a different language, as if it was a normal thing for us. So what I noticed from my clients is that is exactly that they were trying, and I am absolutely a big offender of that because I'm learning a few languages now too, trying to or automatically or natural tendency is to speak kind of the same speed as our mother tongue, and that is really very it's hard because the language becomes so much, we become so much more obviously unskilled in the language of choice. So what is that we can do in order to have a better handle and to manage better the language, the new language, with every element that it entails? Because when we have a new language, we have new vocabulary, we have grammar, verb conjugation, we have accent, we have sentence structure is different, and pronunciation. So all these things, how do we manage all these things and still sound decent in a new language? So it is slowing down, but slowing down, as simple and as I guess logical it may seem to most of us, slowing down is one of the hardest things to do. I've been working with a lot of people, hundreds of people, one-on-one, so I know exactly the evolution from A to Z, from their first step into the language to the better or best step into the language with me. And I know that slowing down is the one habit that is the hardest to master, and yet is the one thing that you can do to improve your conversation in French, in a new language, but we're talking about French, in French. So how do we do this? Well, you can first observe how I speak English. English is not my mother tongue. And even though I spoke English for a living for 24 years, I am still speaking much slower than if you're Anglophone than you do. And I'm fluent, all right. I still don't sound like a native. and have been practicing for 24 years now. And I can give you, it's like the caveat here is that if you speak only that chosen language, you may get to speaking it like a native. But if you do speak on a regular basis more than one language, then every language you speak is going to pitch in with their own patterns. And so expecting to speak like a native from the beginning, as a beginner, intermediate, or advanced, or even as a fluent person, it is a little bit too much to ask of yourself. What is it to do? So we have to understand that something's got to give. Either you speak only French and then you will be able to get to somewhere where you won't have to think about anything. Or if you are speaking English too, or any other third language, then you will have to allow yourself, any differences between your mother tongue and any acquired language. So there are a few things that you can do though, because the thing to do here is really to speak in a way that is fluid and that can go for your speech pattern. It can be your speech pattern. So it is something that you have to do in such a good way so that the person that you're speaking with, or people who are hearing you or listening to you, will feel or think that that is your speech pattern. You may be a slower speaker, as in like a speaker, a fluent speaker, but with a slower pace, and that is possible. Because the be-all and end-all is clarity. You want to be understood for what you intended to say. You don't want to be misunderstood, period, end of sentence, no matter where it's coming from. Vocabulary, grammar, phrase construction, pronunciation, or anything else. You want to make sure that the clarity of speech is your focus, and that's it. So what you can do when you agree for yourself and you give that to yourself, that clarity is key, and something's gotta give. If you don't speak just French, you speak more languages, and something's gotta give. Then what you need to do is to start speaking slower, and slower means also shorter sentences. So to give yourself a license to create shorter sentences with simpler words if you are a beginner or intermediate, so that clarity takes precedence, priority. It's going to be your priority. Also, don't forget the fact that in French, vowels are longer than in English. So in French, the vowels are longer than they are in English. So that is going to help you a lot when you're creating your speech pattern, when you're creating your own way to speak in French. So it's always going to be a different way when you speak English than when you speak French, because they have different rhythms, they have different, and you can create a different, because of that, you can create a different pattern of speech so that you become very clear in everything that you're speaking, and so that you become so much more confident in your conversation. So the rule number one is to slow down. And slowing down doesn't mean, it can mean pauses, but it also can be very skillfully can mean to very skillfully use the lengthening of the vowels. Lengthening of the vowels is it's a little trick that I'm using in English. And if I am clear to you in English, study me and see what I am doing in order to manage my phrase construction, vocabulary, pronunciation, which they are all in my brain all the time, because I'm not only speaking English in my life, I speak more than English and French more than that. So if you have any questions about this, I absolutely, again, I want to reiterate and absolutely strongly recommend that you focus on slowing down, because in my experience, all my clients and my students created for themselves immense progress just by slowing down and focusing on the clarity of their speech. So I hope this helps you, and please let me know. Please write questions in the comments below, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the contest. This was not a preparation a video for any of the questions. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say this. I'm not yet quite sure. So keep this in mind. This may be used in the contest, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the contest if you like to have much more progress, faster progress, and by December the 21st to see what you can do, which is a little bit of investment and a lot of excitement and passion. Thank you so much for watching this video. Stay on your game and don't ever give up on your dream to become bilingual. Learn to speak Parisian French and break your language barrier. I'll see you in the contest, hopefully. Merci beaucoup et à demain. Au revoir.